Welcome to another exciting, even exhilarating training video from ERS. This one's going to be talking about credit card processing today and what you need to know to get it hooked up with your system so you can take deposits and payments and any other form of credit card processing that you'd like to do with ERS. So the traditional model, if you had a retail store, is you would have a little terminal here, whether it was built into your cash register or a physical terminal. The customer would hand the credit card, you'd swipe it, and that money would be deposited into your bank. And I'm simplifying all this a little bit, but the gist is correct. So here's what's being added now that we have an internet model in today's business. So we have the customer shopping with ERS. That gets connected to something called a payment gateway, and that's the new thing that you might not be familiar with. This is the middleman company that codes up or encrypts all of your credit card information from the customer, hands it off to your merchant service provider, which is your credit card company, and then it goes into your bank. So we're just adding one little step here. So if you already have a credit card merchant service provider or a credit card company, then all you're going to need to do is call them up and ask them to add this component, the payment gateway. If you don't have credit cards at this point, then you'll be asking the merchant service provider for both, and I'll cover that in just a second. So here's a couple tips to consider. The rule of thumb is that plus or minus right now, at least in 2011, is that 3% is a pretty good rule of thumb when all the dust settles. So that means that merchant service providers will often tell you that they can give you 1.56 or something like that %, but then they throw in batch fees and PCI compliance fees and statement fees and all these other things, and then you add on a payment gateway that might be another $10 or $20 a month, and when all this dust settles, you're actually going to get something quite a bit higher. So if you take your total payments at the end of the month and divide it by the number or the total amount of sales that you ran through the system, plus or minus 3% is a really good rule of thumb. So if you're paying more than that, then you should be shopping, and if you're paying about that, then you're good. And when looking for a payment gateway company to use, you should start with the merchant service. So if you don't have anything, start with the merchant service first and ask for both. And if you already have credit card services, ask them if they can add a payment gateway. The only thing that they have to, you can use any merchant service provider that you want, absolutely anybody. The catch is they do have to support one of the payment gateways that ERS supports. So ERS supports the following gateways. Every merchant service out there has their own proprietary system that they like to push because they get higher percentage rates. It's impossible for us to support all of the proprietary gateways that are out there, so we chose to support these three right here. These are the biggest ones: Authorize.net, LinkPoint, and NPC Secure. And your merchant service must support one of these for the cart to work. With that said, there are a couple of exceptions. So some companies provide both the merchant service and the payment gateway all in one package. So here's a couple of examples. Intuit. We are Intuit authorized developers, which is Intuit is the company that makes QuickBooks. So we do support Intuit Merchant Services, PayJunction, and PayPal Pro. All three of these are an all-in-one solution. The bottom two are an all-in-one solution, but they have no set monthly fees attached. And at first glance you would say, well, why would I consider any of the others? The problem is that you cannot take a deposit and then recharge their card for the balance if you're using either of these solutions. And PayPal and Google both take you off of the ERS site briefly to take the payment information. So the more professional, slick way to go is definitely one of these, or the ones that we were just talking about on the previous slide. But if this is all that you can get, then we can certainly support it. It's just going to take a little more effort on your part, asking for that credit card information that second time. So once you've signed up with a merchant service provider, it's easy to set up within ERS. You go from the main menu, you go to System Setup, and then Payment Settings. And the one thing we often get calls going, I'm in payment, I went to System Setup, but Payment Setting isn't even an option. And that's because you must be logged in as the original admin account that we sent when you signed up with ERS. And if you need a password reset because you've lost that information, just give us a call and we can do that for you. But you have to be logged in as admin. This keeps other people using your system from being able to mess with your credit card settings. And within our system, it's pretty straightforward. You just choose the payment provider that you've decided to go with, whether it's authorized.net or PayPal or whatever. And then depending on the merchant service provider, you'll just need to enter one or two codes that those companies provide, and that's it. So if you need a recommendation, you can use any merchant service provider that you want, as long as it supports one of the gateways that we talked about previously. But with that said, ERS has negotiated some discounted rates with a couple of merchant service providers. They even come out to some of the trade shows with us. So if you need a recommendation, give us a call and we'll give you the contact information. And that's it. We hope that helps you get set up and running with your merchant services and allowing you to take credit cards online. This greatly relieves the office paperwork shuffling. It did wonders in my business. It was actually quite surprising. So hope that helps out. Feel free to contact us anytime if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.